Greetings, you hulking bugbears. I hope you're doing well. My name is Graham, and welcome to the Crack-A-Pack here on LRRMTG. This is the first Crack-A-Pack we have recorded since they started going up, because we recorded a whole bunch in advance just to make sure. So I wanted to say thank you, because the response has been delightful. I really appreciate it. Today, very exciting, I'm going to be opening a pack, anyway, because there's 6 of them in here, from a pre-release kit for Magic the Gathering Dungeons & Dragons Adventures in the Forgotten Realms. A Deckmaster game. The pre-release was, at time of this airing, yesterday, and wanted to go through the pre-release kit experience for you. As pack opening ASMR goes, this sort of wheedly cellophane is not that exciting. All right, what do we have inside here? Well, as per usual, you've got your 6 booster packs of Magic the Gathering cards. You've got a pre-release promo, you've got some tokens, and what is this? This is, oh cool, it's a little reminder thing. This is Xanathar's Guide to Dungeons that explains exactly how the dungeon mechanic works. So that's a good idea. If you aren't in a dungeon and you venture into a dungeon, choose one of the dungeons and go into the first room, triggering its ability, etc., etc., etc. Okay, good. I like that they have a full sort of explainer on what dungeons do, and delightful art of Xanathar winning 10 games of Magic the Gathering straight against his goldfish. Literally goldfishing. That somebody thought that was very, very funny, and it is. We'll get to the promo foil in a second, but I wanted to talk about these tokens for just a moment. So there's 3 tokens of the dungeons. They're tokens on one side and there's dungeons on the other, and they're foil on double sides, so you know they're going to stay straight. And I appreciate when it's clear that care has been taken for something. So there's the Tomb of Annihilation, and when you venture into the last room and get rid of the dungeon, you create the Atropal, a legendary 4/4 black god horror creature token with death touch. And on the back of this dungeon, why, what do we see? Yes, it's the very token that you need. Now, the other 2 dungeons, you've got the Lost Mine of Phandelver and the Dungeon of the Mad Mage, and I just think that this is very well done. The Lost Mine of Phandelver, in one of the rooms, creates a goblin. So the goblin is on the back of the Dungeon of the Mad Mage, and the Dungeon of the Mad Mage can create 2 1/1 skeletons. So the skeleton is on the back of the other dungeon. So you're always going to have the token that you need. I just think it's neat. Now, for my promo foil in this pack, we have the Eye of Vecna. 2-mana legendary artifact. When Eye of Vecna enters the battlefield, you draw a card and lose 2 life. 2 life, that's a big ask, but sure. Drawing cards is always nice. And then at the beginning of your upkeep, you may pay 2. If you do, draw a card and you lose 2 life. So it's a lot worse than something like, say, Phyrexian Arena, in terms of that you have to pay 2 mana and lose 2 life instead of 1, but you can't get killed by your own Eye of Vecna, because it's not going to do anything on your upkeep unless you actively tell it to do the thing. So, on balance, not terrible. And also, there is a code to unlock 6 Adventures in the Forgotten Realms boosters on Magic the Gathering Arena, and I'm going to put that over here, because when this goes up, I don't even know if the set... When's the set hit Arena?
Like the day that this goes out, it's up.
Should I just read this out?
Sure.
If you're one of the lucky folks to be the first one to watch this video, is A562C986-4AFBA4748DA8EA891. Congratulations, one person. Tell us about it in the comments. And a D20, not a spin down, a D20. I rolled 1. I literally rolled a 1. Well, that dice can get out of here. Let's open 1 pack of Adventures in the Forgotten Realms. Why not? At the back of the pack, we have a Tomb of Annihilation with the Atropal, not in foil, but nice that that shows up that way in the boosters as well, so that's cool. In the actual pack, we have a Great Axe. It's a Great Axe. It's single mana for an equipment. The equipped creature gets +4/+0, and it takes 5 to equip. I guess if I had to sort of defend that on flavor terms, anybody can buy a Great Axe. You can just go buy one for gold or silver or however much a Great Axe costs in D&D. But wielding a Great Axe is a lot more difficult. We'll say that's why it's so expensive to equip. Next I have a Devoted Paladin, 4 and a white for a 4/4 Orc Knight with Beacon of Hope. When Devoted Paladin enters the battlefield, creatures you control get +1/+1 and Vigilance until end of turn. So we've seen cards like this before. Generally they're 3/3s for 4. This is a 4/4 for 5. So that's probably fine. And it's got that little sort of flavor ability, which I love. I don't know if it makes sense for them to do it outside of this set where a bunch of these abilities sort of have terminology existing in D&D, but I like that. I would be happy if that stuck around. Next up, you find the Villains Lair. 1 blue for an instant. Either foil their scheme, which is to say counter target spell, which is to say cancel. It's just cancel. Or learn their secrets. Draw 2 cards and then discard 2 cards. I mean, I like cancel with flexibility. I don't love cancel, but I like cancel that could be something better than cancel. Every single one of the, I'm going to be gushing a lot today. Every single one of these, you encounter the thing or a thing happens to your adventuring party cards. I love. Big fan. Price of Loyalty is next. 2 and a red for a sorcery. Gain control of target creature until end of turn. Untap that creature. It gains haste till end of turn. If mana from a treasure was spent to cast this spell, that creature gets +2/+0 until end of turn. What an interesting... I have not actually read this card. What an interesting little spin on one of these. If you bribe somebody to do it, then it's going to be more effective. Huh. I dig it. I like that a lot. Precipitous Drop is 2 and a black for a creature enchantment. When it enters the battlefield, venture into the dungeon. And the enchanted creature gets -2/-2. It gets -5/-5 instead as long as you've completed a dungeon. So 3 mana for a deadweight, but you get to venture is probably fine. And if you've already completed a dungeon, this probably kills something big and scary. Or you just get it out there now, it helps you complete the dungeon, and then later, when you do complete the dungeon, the thing just dies. Probably. Yeah, I dig it. Also, the person in the art, they're dead. They're not coming back out of that. I don't think unless they got Featherfall. Good old Featherfall. Scaled Herbalist, 1 and a green for a Lizard Druid. It's a 1/3. And tap, you may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield. In Dominaria, when this was an elf, it was fine. I think this is going to be fine. I haven't done one of these for a set that isn't out yet, so I really have no idea how the draft environment's going to be. But I'm basing this on previous experience. This will be fine. They look like a real fun friend to be around for whatever it's worth. Ranger's Hawk is next. It's a 1/1 for 1 white mana. It flies, and for 3 and tap another untapped creature you control, venture into the dungeon only as a sorcery. So only as a sorcery, meaning you have to, on your turn, pay 3 mana and tap this and one of your other creatures, so they're not blocking, and they're probably not attacking unless the other one had vigilance. But repeatable venture. Repeatable venture. I don't know how this hawk is flying around inside the dungeon. Judging by the maps, they're all pretty cramped, like low ceiling. It's a dungeon, right? What hawk is flying around? Someone get the mini-map. How many hexes is this? Rime Shield Frost Giant, which looks like got lost on the way from Kaldheim. 3 blue for a 4/5 giant warrior with ward 3. I like that. That's, yeah, all right. 5 mana 4/5 in blue with just a shield, a ward shield. Yeah, all right, cool. Rime Shield would have been a neat name for that ability as well, but ward makes it applicable to things that aren't just cold. So, yeah, Fair enough. Moving on through the commons, Zombie Ogre, the Zombogre. 3 black for a Zombie Ogre. We've got a couple of those in this set. There's Dragon Turtle, Zombie Ogre. I hope there's more. I like that. Name, Zombie Ogre. Occupation, Zombie Ogre. It's a 3/5, and at the beginning of your end step, if a creature died this turn, venture into the dungeon. So venture into the dungeon with a morbid trigger. Yeah. Great. Sounds like fun. Owl Bear. It's a 4/4 bird bear. Of course it's a bird bear. Creature type, bird bear. You love to see it. 3 green for a 4/4 with trample, excellent, and keen senses, which is to say, when it enters the battlefield, draw a card. This limited all-star as far as I'm concerned. Love an owl bear. Get in. And we're into the uncommons now. We have a Grim Wanderer, 1 and a black for a 5/3 Goblin Warlock with flash and tragic backstory. Cast this spell only if a creature died this turn. This player is definitely an edgelord. I'm playing a Grim Hobgoblin with a tragic backstory. I assume it's a hobgoblin, because very tall for a goblin. There is a stillness that walks with him, the quiet that follows great tragedy, when even the mourners are too exhausted to weep. Okay, buddy. Eccentric Apprentice is 2 and a blue for a 2/2 Tiefling Wizard. We got Tieflings in Magic now. With flying, when Eccentric Apprentice enters the battlefield, venture into the dungeon. And at the beginning of combat on your turn, if you've completed a dungeon, up to 1 target creature becomes a bird with base power and toughness 1/1 and flying until end of turn. Weird. So if you want, you can make something of yours fly and get through, assuming they have no flyers, or you can make their big scary blocker into a little weeny bird, right? Up to 1 target creature. Yeah, it doesn't have to be your creature. Okay. All right. Don't upset the tiefling. Some neat new creature types in Magic in this set. There's one it's called Purple Worm, I think it is, and it's creature type worm, not worm. It's WORM, and I truly do not know if that was a creature type before now, because usually they're worms, worms, WURM. So I wonder why that was like that. Anyway, next we have Plate Armor. Ooh, someone started the campaign with a bunch of gold. 2 and a white for an artifact equipment. The equipped creature gets +3/+3 and has Ward 1, and presumably affects their Thaco in a very positive way. Equipped for 3, this ability costs 1 less to activate for each other equipment you control, because presumably at that point you just have a squire helping you out. So wait, so if you have a bunch of equipment, this could be free, right? Costs 1 less for each other equipment? Yeah. So that great axe really is just an investment in your plate armor. Get the great axe, be like, I have this axe. I'm gonna put it over here because it's too expensive to hold. That's for guests. That's we don't touch the axe. It's just to make my armor easier to get on. We don't question it. And we have a swamp. We have a rare, but we have a swamp that says, your search for a stolen artifact has brought you to the edge of the Mare of Dead Men. I recommend you don't go in. It will upset your DM who has an adventure planned inside the Mare of Dead Men. Our rare is Fighter class. Take some levels in Fighter. Red, white for an enchantment class. When it enters the battlefield, search your library for an equipment card, reveal it, and put it into your hand, then shuffle, like some plate armor. May I interest you? You can get to level 2 with 1 red, white, at which point equip abilities you activate cost 2 less to activate. Just makes it even better. And you can pay 3 red, white to get to level 3. Whenever a creature you control attacks, up to 1 target creature blocks this combat if able. So they get very aggressive, really, is what's going on. Nice. We don't know what any of these cards are worth, because this set, isn't out yet at time of recording, so there's not, some of these cards might not even actually have been spoiled by the time that we're recording them. So, that whole thing, don't worry about that for this time. But what would I take here in draft? Honestly, I just take Fighter class, because it's a rare and I haven't played the set and I want to see if it's any good. Beyond that, I think Grim Wanderer is going to be pretty sweet. Love the Owlbear. Eccentric Apprentice seems neat too. The armor is probably all right. I doubt I would wield the armor if I took Fighter class, but maybe I would. So, I don't know. The world is my Owlbear. It could be any of these. So I'm not going to make a firm pick. I'll just take the rare and see how it plays, I think is probably going to be the plan for this one. That's it for the Crack-A-Pack. If you want to see more of Dungeons & Dragons Adventures in the Forgotten Realms, the recording of the pre-release will be up on this channel as soon as we can, and any of the video content we made for it will be out in their own individual videos over the course of the next week or so. We'll have some bonus rounds coming up. Subscribe to the channel and you'll see it all. Do the bell thing, all the boring YouTube shenanigans. You know what it is. We appreciate you being here. It's just nice. Everything that we do is brought to you by you and your support of our Patreon at patreon.com/loadingreadyrun. If you want to send us a pack to open, you can do that to our P.O. Box, Attention Crack-A-Pack. Shoutouts to the editor, and we will talk to you next time. Bye, everybody.